Hello everyone, today I'm going to be going over Undertale Dungeons Part 2. To get to it, you're going to go ahead and press this button. Alright, so I'm going to be going over a lot, and we're just going to go step by step. I'm going to go over as much as I can, that way you can all understand. So once you hit the play button, in order to actually start fighting in these new dungeons, you're going to notice that your level is going to be different. Your chances are you're going to start out at level 1. You're going to run over here, hold E or whatever it is on mobile, and this is going to appear. For your first dungeon, you're going to play casual, and then choose one of these difficulties. I like to play on the hardest one, since I'm decent at it, but if you're not good enough at that kind of level yet, feel free to go to a lower one. Now let's go over how to fight enemies. I have pretty good gear, but first I want to go over how to actually land hits on them. For this, I'm going to quickly switch my gear. So, when you fight these enemies, you're going to want to go usually just backwards while swinging. Since you're faster than them, they won't catch up, and you can just kind of land little hits on them. Using this sort of method, you'll be able to score a lot of hits on them. See, just going backwards, smacking them, and taking them down. You're going to keep going until you reach a different room. Let me show you that room. This is the room where things will be a little more interesting. In this room, there's going to be a button over there that you can't press, and there are going to be enemies. By the way, most enemies are optional. Anyway, you're going to head over to this little area, and this gate's going to activate. It's going to trigger an event called an ambush, and a bunch of enemies are going to spawn. You're going to have to take down all these enemies in order to progress, or or you can just try to skip it by running through, like I am right now, and you can go over to this button and press it. Obviously, you still need to try to stay alive, but once you've done that, you can press this button and get through. Now, some people might have taken damage throughout this. If you open up your inventory, the game will give you healing potions. These healing potions are pretty useful for getting your health back, and they are pretty good to use if you are not on a high difficulty. On a high difficulty, all strong enemies one-shot you, or do near one-shot, so it's not ideal to use those potions. Alright, so let's go ahead and skip to the next notable thing. Now, the way you get items is that whenever you kill an enemy, there's a chance that they'll drop an item. I highly recommend equipping anything before fighting the boss. But once you have your items, you go ahead and run in and challenge the boss. So this is the boss here. Their moves don't change at all in the difficulties, only their damage and health changes. So you're going to want to move backwards and just fire attacks. During this attack, they're going to fire in two different patterns. You're just going to have to go left and right to evade as you're going backwards. And just like that, we've killed the easy mode version of this boss. For those of you who just wanted a quick summary of everything, there you go. You open the chest and finish. However, I'm going to do the highest difficulty and show you how to get through the hardest version of this dungeon. For this, I'll be going over how to solo the dungeon. Obviously, if you bring more people with you, it'll be easier, and there'll probably be better gear in the future. I'm going to be using the Iceland staff, flare bits, and venom shots, along with a maxed out gust blade and maxed out battle body. So let's go ahead and open up the thing, hit master, hit game mode highest difficulty, and be at least level 10, and let's go in. There. So what you're going to want to do is first use your Iceland staff minion, and then after summoning this minion, you're going to switch your spell back to flare bits. The ice minion will never go away, meaning you can keep this for the whole dungeon. They'll be supporting you from a distance, sniping enemies. Since they deal 25 damage, only mini bosses and full bosses will be able to actually survive a single hit from them. Now, the strategy I use for this dungeon is essentially I just go through most of it without even paying attention to the enemies too heavily. Obviously, if they're nearby, don't be afraid to hit them with a spell and maybe a melee. But you can actually just walk through the enemies mostly, as you can see what I'm doing here. These enemies are optional, so since they're optional, no sense in actually forcing a fight. Just launch a spell when they get too close, and you're going to be good. Now, in this section, There's going to be a 100% chance. There are up to two Venuses that can spawn. One is always going to spawn, the second one is optional. So you have to be kind of wary of that. Also, you'll sometimes get treasure chests. Open them for free extra loot. And let's get that ambush going. So we're going to get our Venus spawn here. My minion's going to be clearing out some of these enemies. I recommend clearing out a few of them before you engage Venus, since Venus will require you to actually go in a circle quite a bit, just spinning around. But if you spin around well enough, then Venus won't land a single hit on you, which is good since Venus kills you in one hit from my experience. Again, if you have better gear, Venus won't kill you in one hit. This is all mostly, this is up to date right now, but this will probably be outdated in the future when better gear exists. So let's finish pressing this button and then we're going to keep going. So I'm going to head right through the enemies again if I can. I'll demonstrate since this might be difficult if you don't get to see it. So I'm walking around, kind of making a zigzag pattern there. Just keep the pattern going. Oh no, it looks like I got hit. Well, no problem. I can go ahead and open up my inventory and use a healing potion. And just like that, I've healed back to full health. Now that I've done that, we can keep going on our journey. Obviously, I'm doing this as fast as possible, but if you wanted to take your time, you could minimize risk further. I'm just going through this quickly since I'm confident I can. If you don't want to skip the enemies, feel free to. Now, right here, this little hole is where you can hit a bunch of enemies. See all those? And then if you go slightly to the right, you can melee enemies through here. And just like that, you can kill so many adversaries. I just do that so I can minimize risk for myself. Now, Venus is usually up there. If Venus is lower, you can hit Venus through the wall, but usually you can't. So now I spin for Venus. There. And Venus number 2 is dead. Since we got two Venus spawns, this is technically a um, max difficulty dungeon. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to just running through enemies, just like this. I'm not at all afraid of these enemies since these scrappers aren't very intimidating. When you go through this hallway, it might be a little difficult to walk around them. Good thing you'll have your spells handy to take care of them. There, there. And then we're going to keep going. Venom, Flame. Alright, and we've almost reached the boss. Just one more enemy to kill. I'm not actually sure whether they can follow me into the boss room. I don't think they can. I think the laser will block them. Yeah, it does. Alright, the boss kills me in one hit. I need to be very careful when fighting this boss. I need to run away. I need to not stop running away. I need to move to the side and evade. Then go for the spell hits. There. Almost. And one more hit and they're dead. Just like that, I've completed the highest difficulty dungeon. And that's how you all do it if any of you want to go ahead and try. With that, I'll claim my reward, and I hope you all enjoyed this guide. If it was useful for you, I recommend liking. If you have anything you'd like to say or ask any questions, please drop a comment. And if you want to see more of these in the future, go ahead and subscribe. With that, I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.